So this is a cloud portal. You'll have your own link to your own sectioned off Action Center inbox. So just for your firm. And what the users do, they go into it and they go to the inbox. So I've got here, and they'll see this screen. So I'll just quickly go through this. So this is where different tasks appear. So on the left-hand side here, you can see I've got my tasks, so tasks that belong to me. I've got pending, unassigned, and completed. So unassigned just means there's a task that hasn't been assigned to anybody yet. But what we do is we link it to your DMS or CCH database so that we know for a given client code. So this is a test client code for our redacted data, but that would be linked to a person who has an Action Center license, and the bot would know to assign it to them automatically. But if that wasn't set up, because not everyone has that ability, then what you can do is you can manually assign actions from the unassigned tab to a person. So in this case, I'm assigned to myself. And then they appear in this pending tab. So this is where the bulk of the work will get done. So each one of these actions here, if I just click through just quickly, they correspond to a document that's been saved in the document management system, which the bot's picked up and done an extraction for. So let's start with something simple, and we'll build up to more complicated cases. Some tricks I like to do first is if I'm going to be on the Action Center for, like, say, a few minutes, I'll press F11, and that gives me a bit more screen space to work with it. So I pick my first action. This is a simple P60. Another thing I can do, see here, there's a little button, little arrow to collapse. So I can do that, and that gives me, again, more screen space. You'll see the document itself on the right-hand side, and you can zoom in and out and scroll up and down, and there's various options to navigate around the page. On the left, we get a list of different fields which the bot is capable of extracting. There's quite a lot there, but the ones that the bot has extracted, you can tell because there'll be a red dot next to them, and it'll say table. So we've got here employment and pension income. So we've got the red dot and the table, and everything else that's not extracted is there. So you could add it if the bot had missed something, and we'll get to that later, that you know that those aren't relevant to this document. So first thing I do is I check the client code and names field to see, does this match the document? So again, this will be fed in from your document management system. In this case, it does. So we've got the bot showing me that, yeah, okay, this is this client, because people do like to save the wrong documents to the wrong folders. It does happen. So that's the first thing you check. Just make sure this is for the right person, because this is how the bot knows where to put it in CCH, of course, because this is all linked to your DMS. It's happy with that. Okay, next one. So I go to employment and pension income. And what happens is on the bottom here, I get a new table that appears, and these are all the fields that are relevant to P60 or a pension P60. And I click through them, and the bot is showing me on the page where it's getting them from. So you can see the colored boxes that are being highlighted as I click through. And these show me where the bot has got the data from. Now, an important feature here is you'll notice these all have green dots next to them. That means that the bot has both been able to highlight the number or item in particular, and is confident that it's read it correctly. So the confidence scores give you both the extraction confidence, which is how confident is the bot that it's labeled that it's got it correct, and an OCR confidence, which is how confident that while it's labeled, it has the right, it's read it right. So, an E isn't a 3 or whatever it might be. And we'll see some examples where it's not so confident later. In this case, we've got all green dots, so we're quite happy. But you'll notice on this one here, I've got a little triangle warning field. This is telling me that this document doesn't fall within the current tax year. Now, these are all test documents, so they're from all different kinds of tax years, and I've set it to be 2024. So that's why it's telling me that it's not right. Obviously, in a real situation, you really get that, but it's there to warn you if you do. So what you can do then is, like I said, you go for the different fields, make sure you're happy. When I'm all happy, I can just click Save and Close. This goes to green now because I've checked it, and I can click Submit. Now, what that does in the background is that will go into CCH. It'll get moved into your document management system. It'll get tagged as an employment income if that's something that your document management system supports, and the data will get typed in. In addition, what the bot will also do is off the back of that, it'll take that PDF and then it'll annotate it with whatever the fields were in the Action Center. So you can see I've got all these red boxes with a little name saying what it was. So this is showing me what you saw in the Action Center. This is helpful for the review stage because then people can see where the figures came from. On the left-hand side as well, you've got the bookmark chapters. So this is telling you all the different items that were relevant to this particular tax return, so this particular document. And then on top of that, for some customers who want this, the bot will start building a working paper for that client. So I go to this. What this does is for every source document the client had, as they're submitted, it'll start building up a PDF with all of that information in sections. So at the moment, we've only got the one P60. So it's got the employment income and then the P60. If I click on it, it'll take me to that page. So it's navigable. And I'll show you this build up over time. Right. So going back to the Action Center then, let's do something a bit more complicated. So where the bot really starts to save time is things like this. So this is just someone sent in looks like an Excel extract with a bunch of gift aid donations. What you normally have to do is go through each of these and type them into CCH one by one, making sure you've got the right line, going back and forth across the screen. Obviously, that takes a lot. It's not hard, but it just takes a long time. So again, on the left, I'm going to say, is this the right client code? Yeah, got the right name. Good. That's all happy with that. And again, I can see here, most of this isn't extracted except charitable donations. So if I click on that, we can see here, this is the list of charitable donations that the bot has picked up. Now, one feature we've added this year, there's lots of little things like this we've added to make it easier for the user. If I go to the bottom, there's a row that says total, and it's pulled out, and it's basically that total is calculated from all the rows it's picked up beforehand. So the bot isn't getting that from the page, it's manually adding that up, and then trying to highlight it. And if it's there, in this case it is, I know straight away, because that total is correct, it's not missed anything. So I don't have to even bother really checking the individual rows. Straight away, I'm happy. Right, let's go on to a nice exciting new thing, which is rental income. This is obviously a highly requested feature, and it's quite a tricky one because rental income can come in so many different ways and forms. So in this document, we have one page here, which is some handwritten notes for a particular address, and another page, again, handwritten notes. So what I do, the bot, it will extract each individual expense or income row for a given property, tells you what tax year it is because clients like to put multiple tax years in for rent, tells you the address, whether it's jointly held, in this case they're not, and then we've got income or expense type. So these are categories that correspond to CCH. So this is how the bot knows where to put them, the end stage, and then the amount according to that category, and whether or not it managed to pull out a description. Now, in this case, it didn't pull out this rental one. If I click plus, you'll see why. It's because the handwriting here, the OCR thinks that's a key, which doesn't look like rent, so it decided it wasn't relevant. Of course, it was, so I can make that change. There we go. Save that. And again, just like with the bank interest, we get a summary table to help you with just seeing how it all pans out. So we've got two addresses here. Just look at the first one. Got an Ankara flat. We've got the total gross. So that's all the positive income, total net. So that's the expenses minus the gross total expenses. And these are included because as well, as you can see here, the bot's tried to highlight them and it has highlighted them, which is really helpful because we know that it's not missed anything in those sections. Got page 2. This one's a bit harder. This one, again, is a bunch of expenses and income for rent. Just like before, I can go through the values and just see what is extracted. And again, you'll get your rental handwriting working papers. And again, that's going to be appended to the overall document for the client. But what you'll also get for this is a rental working paper Excel summary. As we saw in the action, these are all the things in there. So we've got a front page tab, which is payer address, was it jointly held, what's the total income, what's the profit or loss, and so on, how many expense items were there. And then for each individual address, I've got a tab. So I've got an Agaro flat tab, and it's showing me this was the income, so there was the rent. When I made this one, I didn't correct that. Right, let's go back to the Action Center. Next up, we've got an example of completely unstructured information. So this is an email. Bot can handle these as well. So you can save MSG files directly to your document management system. The bot can read them. So we've got here, look, we've got loads of different things in this one. It's not just one income type, it's several. I go through them one at a time. Got bank interest detail. So it's pulled out all these bank accounts and a summary, just like before. Charitable donations. So they've got a list of these. Um, Now, I included a typo in the email to show where the bot can really be helpful. So the bot's pulled out the three charities, and the user's written total is 2,560, but the bot's saying it's 2,650. And the bot's correct. That's right. It's just the users who's made a mistake. And I've seen this happen a few times where I might not have noticed that they made a mistake, but the bot's helping to realize that. State pension, they've said the weekly payment was this much. And from that, the bot's picked up, okay, that's a weekly payment. So it's worked out the yearly and 4 weekly totals as well. The yearly is what goes into CCH. Let's go to a much more complicated one, a Goldman Sachs. So what I'm going to do, just like before, we've got provider, yeah. Joint portfolio, yes or no. Client codes and names. Now, in this case, it's a redacted document, so that's not been extracted, so that's why that's missing. But of course, that would be there if it wasn't. Other UK investment income. So it's pulled out the other interest from UK securities. That's there. It's pulled out accrued interest received. And it's also pulled out some other accrued interest, which occurs later in the document for foreign countries. Well, UK ones first, but foreign's a different one. I'll come to that. So I check all that, be happy with that. Bank interest detail. This one's really important for Goldman Sachs because what Goldman Sachs do, they give you pages and pages of bank interest. But then at the end, what they don't do is they don't break it down by account. So see, this has got 3 different account numbers with different interest. The bot will correctly pull those rows out and break it down per account for you, and then give you the total. See here, the bot's highlighted this total. That's all the Goldman Sachs give you. So you wouldn't be able to use that number because you'd have to go through, add all those rows up. So there's 20 rows for that account, 13 for that one, 17 for that one. And that takes time. I know because I've done it several times checking this myself, how painful that is. And they don't provide you with the breakdown per account. But because the bot's highlighted the total, I know these numbers are correct. I'm happy to continue. So that's a big time saver. And you'll get the 3 entries for your bank interest for this particular portfolio. Right, foreign dividends. Now this has a huge amount of them, this particular form. If I look, let me just see, I've got 5 pages. My stupid taskbar at the bottom isn't minimizing because Windows likes to be silly sometimes. So I'll keep it like this so you can see. You might think, right, well, this can take me ages to go through and check all these. There's pages and pages of them. So how do I speed this process up? Well, it comes down to the whole green dot system and the summaries. So what I would do on a document this big is I wouldn't even bother looking at the foreign dividend detail. I would go straight to the summary table. I would check to see for each country that's listed there, is that amount highlighted? You see, I've got green dots, so I know they are. If I click on them, it'll take me there. There's the total for Ireland. Okay, it's not missed anything for that one. 28 rows there. It's not missed them. Luxembourg, 15 rows, correct. And a total, and that's been highlighted too. So I can say straight away that it's got all 43 of those correct. Don't need to bother checking. Same for excess foreign dividends. Again, the pattern repeats. Go to the summary, click through. 13 rows, all correct, all highlighted. Great. Foreign interest summary. Again, now there's a huge amount here, 30 rows, loads of different countries. And again, the bot's picked out each country. The totals for each country are highlighted. So we're happy with that. I'm just going to point out that, again, like I was saying earlier, the bot will attempt to highlight the numbers on the page. It doesn't always necessarily highlight the right one, so to speak. You can see here this total for Philippines 365 appeared 3 times, 4 times actually 6 times. Let's just pick that one. But that is correct, so I'd be happy with that. United States of America, yeah, and then total, correct. So that's another section ticked off. Foreign interest summary, again, same pattern repeats. So, that's a huge amount of time saving, not having to look through all those. Annoyingly, this particular document doesn't have any foreign text on it, but I will show you one in a minute that does. And capital gains detail. This is a really bad one because there's loads and loads of rows and some are exempt. Pages and pages and pages of it. So I go to the capital gains summary. Let's just break this down. Now, there's a load of different rows here because it's a complicated portfolio and there's lots of ways of breaking it down. So we've got what we do. We have the bot break it down into listed gain, listed loss, unlisted gain, unlisted loss. So those are the 4 that matter. and we try and highlight those numbers for you. So I can see here it's got that the way that Goldman Sachs break it down. They do UK and non-UK, so it's kind of hard to read, which is why I've got all these extra rows. I can see that listed losses 14,761. Yep, that's highlighted. I know that row is correct. Listed gains. Oh, now these ones aren't highlighted, so immediately I'm thinking, is this wrong? If I look at the numbers, 63023.33 there. I've got 63023.35. What that's telling me is that on the whoever generated this portfolio, they'll have software in the background that's got rounding errors in it. So this is the number the bot's calculated. It's 2 penny different. That's why it's not highlighted. But I'd be happy with that. And it's up to me. I can either change this if I want to use what their number is, or I can trust the bot's calculations, which are going to be perfect, and stick with the 2 pence extra. It's up to you what you want to do. You've also got warnings to tell you whether or not, if you add these two together, subtract them, whether they add up. And again, it'll be rounding errors that tell you whether or not these are slightly off. So in this case, it's just because, like with this number up here, there's a rounding error on their data, which is why it doesn't quite match these two. So again, it's up to you whether you want to fix that. And we also include total listed to see if that appears anywhere. And again, yeah, we've got listed disposal proceeds. Yeah, that matches up. So it does take a little while to check this. Maybe 5-10 minutes, but it's still going to save a lot of time because I'm not spending hours in this portfolio. I'm spending minutes, especially as you get more confident with the Action Center and how all this is laid out. So, the other thing as well. So if I save and close this and submit it, what I'll get is, to go along with this, is a nice working paper spreadsheet. So this is all the rows we just saw in a spreadsheet. At the front page, it just breaks everything down like we saw in the Action Center. There's all the different bits of income that will go into CCH. And then each tab has its own breakdown.
So thank you very much. And as I say, any questions, please reach out.